Alright, welcome back to the SSL Family Dad channel for the first viewer comments video of 2019, where we go through some of your comments and share them on the channel, and I answer some pressing questions that have come up more than once, or comments that have been repeated, and also some that are just plain interesting. So let's get started with some of the SSL Family Dad channel viewer comments. Susan LeBlanc says, "It works much better when your logs are the same dimensions." Now this was on the one of the log raised bed videos, and Susan, you are absolutely right. The hardest part about this whole project really was that the logs were all different dimensions. They were not all perfectly straight. They were thinner on one end than another. You know, the 6 logs that I used, they were all of various sizes, some up to 16 inches wide, some down to about 10 inches in diameter, and so that definitely made this project hard. I can say though that if you can find some trees on your property that are kind of straight, it doesn't have to be pine trees. They could be, you know, cottonwoods or anything you have, junkwood, poplars, whatever it is on your property that you want to get rid of or thin out in your forest. You can use just about anything for this project. They don't have to be perfect. And even though these weren't all the right, you know, they weren't all good logs, they weren't all straight, they weren't all perfectly the same size, I think it turned out really good for what it is, and it's going to function great as a raised bed. A long time and frequent commenter, the Cynic, says, "Why is it in the middle of the greenhouse and not off to one side?" Again, speaking about the log style raised bed here. So I chose to put this in the center of the greenhouse because this is the tallest section, and my thought was that I could use the center beam to hang some supports for vining plants like tomatoes and other things like that, so I could get them to go really tall. I also thought about, if I can heat this properly, putting some citrus trees right here in the raised bed at either end, and so they'll have plenty of room to kind of grow out in this area. So those are kind of the two reasons why I put this towards the center. I plan on each side to have tables that run the span of the greenhouse, where I'll do a lot of our seedling starting and, you know, potting and other types of things. So, you know, maybe some 3 or 4 foot tables along each side. Mike JV says, "Your saw looks like mine and cuts as bad as mine. I think we should have bought a different brand." Well, several people commented about the chainsaw while I was doing this project, that it needed to be sharper or other things. The chainsaw was actually very sharp. Now, it's hard to tell on the video. I was holding back a lot of those cuts because I really had to be careful. I didn't want to cut too far. I filed on the raker guides on those chains pretty heavily, and so those saws will bite in pretty deep. And so I have to be careful because it'll chew right through that log really quickly. Most of those cuts I was holding back. Also, that's really not the proper chain to be doing a crop or a with the grain cut, and so it doesn't cut quite as well, you know, doing those side notches and things like that. I do have 2 different chainsaws. A lot of people ask about this. I have a steel, it's a 362C, I believe, or 362. It's a professional grade saw. It's actually much lighter than my other saw and more powerful, and it's a little more efficient on gas, and it can take up to, I think, a 24 or 25 inch bar, so it's a little bit of a bigger, more pro grade saw. My other saw is a Husqvarna Rancher 455, a little bit less expensive saw, a little bit heavier, and a little less powerful. But both saws I like. I use both of them kind of interchangeably when I'm out. I've been using the steel a lot more this year. Both saws are great, and I probably will do a comparison video down the road of which saw I like better and why, and kind of just talk about the different brands and some of the features they have. Lauren Spencer says, "How did I miss all these videos? You are cranking them out. Good thing I have free time whilst holding a sleeping baby. You need a bumbling sidekick for laughs. Think it over." Well, Lauren, that's a great comment. I have been trying to crank out more videos recently. Ever since the new year, I've been trying to put out 4 videos at least per week, and take you guys along on more of the step-by-steps on each of the projects that I'm doing and what I'm doing every day. Believe it or not, even though, you know, I only take you guys along for some of these projects, I'm out here working every single day doing different things, and so I'm going to try to take you guys along more and more frequently on those things, spreading some of these videos out, and then maybe doing a recap video of a whole project combined into one at the end. And so hopefully you guys are liking that. But as far as a bumbling sidekick for laughs, I'm not sure who I would bring along. I might be able to help you out with that. Hi. Osamitsu 2550. Osami. It takes years to regrow trees that were cut down. Yes, renewable, but very time consuming. Well, that's a fair point. It does take a long time for trees to grow, but we try to use paper and wood products for just about everything we possibly can here. We also heat our home with wood rather than using propane or natural gas. And although it does take a long time to regrow a tree that we cut down for, say, a project like this, or for heating our home, or for other things, those trees do regrow, unlike other resources. Planting trees every year is a must here on the homestead. We're planting fruit trees, we're planting nut trees, we're planting maple trees, we're clearing out forested areas and thinning it out so that younger trees can grow more rapidly. And so managing the land here is something that is part of everything that we do, and it should be part of everything that you do too. Whether you own a large piece of property or a small one, it's always good to plant trees every year. They're useful for us. And as the years go on, if we plant more trees than we use, we're going to end up with a net gain, whether it's over 15 or 20 or 30 years. That's not the point. The amount of time it takes does not designate whether we should be using that resource more or not. East Mesa Urban Homestead, a frequent commenter and a longtime viewer, thank you. He says, that Ford is an amazing machine. Great work, SSL Dad. I have had that Ford 1969 Ford 4000 tractor out here just about since we moved in. It was one of the first things that I researched, and we had money saved up from the sale of our old home, something that I wanted to purchase right away. I knew I was going to need it for the hay fields as well as everything else around here. That was by far the absolute best investment that we've ever made in a piece of equipment or a product or anything. I use that thing all the time. It is old and sometimes it needs some repairs and other things, but it is a workhorse for us here. It does everything that we need it to do. Having the front loader on it and all the 3-point attachments that we've been able to get over the years and that we will still need to get are going to help us to do all the work that we need to do around here. Before you dig in and buy property, whether it's a small homestead or a larger farming deal that you want to do, make sure you look around for equipment. Older tractors are so much better than all these Chinese built pieces of junk that you can buy now. Even the John Deeres and the good brands, they're really not what they used to be. This old used tractor is going to work for us for many years, and it cost us a fraction of what a new tractor would have cost us. So definitely one of the first things you should do before you start homesteading is look into a good tractor. Jeremy Canfield says, I very, very much appreciate your verse at the end. Well, Jeremy, I appreciate that. It's always good to get positive feedback on some of the things that we do here. Putting Bible verses at the end of every video is something I've done since the very beginning of this channel. And it's not meant to push our faith in Jesus Christ on anybody out there, but it is meant to share something that we know to be truth and something that we know to be extremely important in our lives. It's always nice to hear that somebody finds those verses inspirational, and I hope that it's able to inspire many of you. Now, some people have found offense with this, and they've unsubscribed because we share a verse at the end of the video. It's something that we feel very strongly about here, and it's not something that I will ever take out of our videos. I think it's very core to everything that we do, our faith in Jesus, and so if you found it offensive, I apologize, but hopefully it doesn't drive you away in any way. It's just something you can read if you want to, and if you want to skip over it and not read it, well, that's up to you. There's no problem with that either. That's for every man and woman to decide on their own. So, and fittingly, the next comment is from Jesus Loves You Jesus. I liked the video just because you said everything from China is garbage. Nice, bro. Man, I really feel very strongly about manufactured stuff in China. Man, I could get into a whole video topic on made in America, made in China, manufacturing, and all that kind of stuff. Being from Michigan and having this is an at-home topic for us. Being close to Flint and Detroit and the auto industry and a lot of other things, manufacturing is core to the economy here in Michigan and Ohio and Illinois and Indiana and surrounding states especially. And man, has Chinese manufacturing just decimated the economy here. Whether you agree with this or not, I totally understand, but man, this is something that I just get fired up about. I try as hard as I can to buy things that are made here in America, outside of electronics, because there aren't a whole lot of electronics that are made in America, unfortunately. So outside of that, I really try to buy tools and other things that are made in America, or at least by American brands, or at least made by our neighboring countries, Mexico or Canada, or even, our friends in Europe or Australia. There's something to be said about just supporting, other countries and peoples that share your beliefs and ideas, and our friends and allies of the United States. Those are countries that I can support and look forward to buying products that are made well in their countries. I have no problem with that, but I do tend to speak out a little bit about Chinese-made stuff. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. China stuff, garbage or better and cheaper? I don't know. Wendell Hughes says, I just unsubscribed to your channel, even though I love you people very much. I get tired of having to watch your videos. Well, Lindell, this is YouTube. We watch videos here, and I apologize if you have not been able to keep up. Maybe putting out too many videos just overwhelmed you. But I hope to see you back in the future. Maybe you could just listen along instead of watching. And the last comment by Patrick Wags. Well, that's no good. I'm glad you keep the mess-ups in your videos. It happens to all of us, and it's a good learning experience. Well, Patrick, I try to keep all the mess-ups and screw-ups in our videos because that is part of the process here. This was on the video where I bent the forks that had been given to me that I liked so much. I bent those forks lifting up some logs that were too heavy, and learned a few things about using those for sure. But I try to include all the screw-ups. Number one, it's entertainment for you guys to see somebody else mess some things up, I think, sometimes. And also, it's a learning experience for both of us. So when I make mistakes or when something doesn't go as planned, I'd share that with you guys. That's part of this whole thing. You know, we learn and we do things, and sometimes I do a lot of research and I learn from other people, and sometimes I just get out there and I start working, and sometimes I discover maybe a different way to do things than what all the books say and what other people say, and it works better. Sometimes it doesn't, and so that's part of the process here. But hopefully you guys enjoy the good things and the bad, as it will always keep coming that way on the SSL Family Dad channel. So as always, guys, hope you guys liked the video. Don't forget to hit thumbs up, and let me know what you guys think about some of these comments. And the comments are really what keep this channel alive, so please continue to comment as much as possible. And I'd love to hear from you guys, answer questions, and just keep up with you guys as followers. I appreciate you guys following along and making this channel hopefully good or even great maybe sometimes. So thank you guys for that. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.